Hello, good evening, and welcome to our class for tonight. So please let me know if you can hear me, okay? I would want to know. So before I continue, I want somebody to confirm. So I'm just going to wait for people to join the stream so we can go straight into our tutorial for today. Princess. So I'm just going to wait. I need somebody to please confirm that you can hear me, okay? So let me know that you can hear me. If my sound is okay, the sound is good. So we can start immediately. Let me know, is the sound good? Is it okay? So we can continue immediately. Okay. So please, okay, thank you so much. You can hear me. Success. Thank you. Sweet Winifred. Okay, thank you so much. So guys, so let me just show you guys what we are going to do today. So today we're going to learn how to cut this blouse. Can you guys see? You can see it is a beautiful over bustier. So we're going to be using the princess dart pattern. So that's what we'll use to cut this. And then the waist is going to be a basque waistline, okay? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to adjust my camera. Let it face. Okay, thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you guys. You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's see, let's adjust and then see, make sure that we can view our whole table. Yes, everything is captured in. All right, good. So, guys, let me know where you're watching me from. If you're just joining us, you're welcome. Let me know where you're watching from. So, the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to be drafting the back piece. Okay, so for those of you, like I said, if you know you want to improve your pattern drafting skills, you should be tune in your notification to be joining all of our live streams here on YouTube. Okay, so if you want to improve your pattern drafting skills, so now we are going to have some lines in order for us to draft that bust here. We're going to have some lines on our patterns on our pattern paper. So the lines that I'm going to have, you can see this first line is going to serve as my start line, and then the next line I have is my bust point line, which is 10 inches, and then the under bust is 13 inches. I have a waist measurement to be using a waist measurement of 16.5, and I'll use 24 inches for the full length. Okay, so all of these lines now, I am going to connect them. So that's, I'm going to use my, so mind you, this is the back of our pattern. That's what we are doing first. So I'm just using this. I am joining them this way, okay? All right, thank you so much. Sarah, you're watching from Ghana. Wow, thank you so much and welcome. Thanks for joining our class for tonight. I appreciate, okay? So these are all the lines that I need. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to mark out our shoulder line. So the shoulder line that we're going to use for today, we're going to use 14 inches for the shoulder line. So this, mark out the measurement that we'll use. Our bust measurement is going to be 36. Our on bust is going to be 30, and then the waist, that's the waist line. The waist is going to be 34, and then the hip line is going to be 40. Okay, so these are all the measurements that we're going to use. So the first thing we're going to do now, we're going to add shoulder. The shoulder is 15 inches. So when you divide 15 into 2, you're going to have 7.5. So I'll add mark 7.5, and then I'll add half of an inch as my allowance. So from this point now, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So I'll use this 1 inch as my shoulder slope like this, so you can see. I'll just load that into that point, and then from that shoulder slope, I'm going to measure my round bust. Sorry, my okay. I'm going to measure from this point. I'm going to measure my armhole round. So my armhole round is, you divide your bust circumference into 6 and then add 1.5. So when I do that, I'm going to have 7.5. So I'll just mark that 7.5 and then I'll connect it with a straight ruler like this. Okay. So I'll connect it like this and then I'll give it a nice curve for my pattern piece like this. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do now, we're going to take out our full body measurement. So before we take out our full body measurement, so this is my 7.5. I'm going to divide that into two. I'll divide that into two. And then I'm going to put a point there. So I'm going to come back. That's where I let the princess dart to. So the next thing, we're going to come to this point and we're going to mark out our bust span. So the bust span that I'm going to be using is 9 inches. So when 9 inches into 2, you're going to have 4.5. So the 4.5, I'm going to mark it across all of the lines. So I'll mark all of these lines like this. I'll connect these lines like this with my straight ruler like this. So after connecting with my straight ruler, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to connect that line. So I'll just blend this into this point like this. So this point, I don't want it to be curvy, to be very curvy. So I'll just take my pattern curve and then just like mark it, let it be a little bit straighter. Okay, so this is for the back of my piece. The next thing I want to do now, I want to take out my full body measurement. You can see how easy this is. So our bust is 36. So when you divide 36 into 4, we're going to have 9 inches. I'll mark the 9 inches here and then I'm going to add like 2.5 inches for allowance. So and then I'll come to the under bust to the under bust line here, which is 30, that's 7.5. So I'm going to take out a dart of 1.5 inch. So I'll place that 1.5 inch back to my pattern and then I'm going to mark my stitching allowance. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to mark from this point, I'm going to come to my waist, which is 34. I'm trying to calculate it. I'm trying to calculate 34. So I'm trying to calculate 34, which is 17. So let me just bend my tape. So that's 8.5. So I'll mark my 8 and then the same 1.5 inch that I'll use for my dart, and then I would mark my stitching allowance, and then I'll come to my hip line with 14. I'll divide 14 into 4. I'm going to have 10 inches, and then I'll add my stitching allowance. That is, I'll add my dart and then I'll add my stitching allowance. Okay, so after adding all of these lines, I am going to mark to connect them. So if you have a question, you can ask your question on the comment section. Okay, so you can just go ahead and drop your question on the comment section. So I'm going to create, so the back will be straight. So the next thing I want to do now, I want to take out my dart. So for this option, you can decide to do it before marking out your full body measurement. Okay, so it's still okay. So for this, so like I told you guys, I'm using 1.5 inch for my dart. So that 1.5 inch, I'm just going to mark it this way, mark it here like this, and then I will mark it here like this also, and then I'll put it here also. Oh my, so I'm so sorry guys, I'm so sorry. I thought this was my back, my front pattern. Wow, so sorry guys. So after marking it like this, just ignore the 1.5 inch dart, just ignore that. Like seriously, I thought it was my front pattern. So for the back pattern, we're just going to take out a dart of 1 inch. So and that 1 inch is just half inch right and then half inch to the left. That is what we are going to mark. Okay, so this is my under bust line and then I'll mark it here at my waist also. I'm so sorry guys. So is 1 inch that is what we are using. That is what we are using. So that 1 inch that from this under bust line, I'm just going to come up by 1 inch. So please note, connect it from that point to my to this bust to this line. So not 1.5 inches, please. It's just 1 inch because this is a back pattern. So so sorry about that. So because this is a live stream, if it was a video now, we just like edit that part out. So you guys will not even know. So it's just 1 inch. So at the end of the day, I have an extra of half of an inch, which is okay. So the next thing now for my pattern, I want to cut out my tube for the back. So I can decide to use my armhole line like this. I can decide to my armhole line to cut out my pattern. But if I want it to come more, that's if I want the back of my pattern to come down more, to give it like a kind of like neckline, I can just use my pattern like this and then just create. So this is going to be my back. So add if you want to add boning inside, all you are going to do is just divide this other piece into two like this. So you just divide this into two and then you have one, two, and then three. Okay, so this is going to serve as our back piece. Okay, so this is back piece. And then the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to go and cut front. I'm so sorry, this like the network, the thing got disconnected at a point. I did not notice that. Okay, so now we're going to cut the front. So I'm going to split stream and restart it again.